INFJs don't just struggle with lies. We struggle with strategic truth. You know, the kind where someone tells you just enough to look honest, but leaves out the one piece that actually matters. They didn't technically lie, but they didn't give you the truth either. And for INFJs, that kind of omission feels worse than a lie because it's calculated. This video isn't about betrayal. It's about how some people manipulate trust without ever saying anything false. And if you've ever walked away from a conversation feeling confused, unsettled, or like something's missing, even though the words sounded right, that's what we're breaking down today. INFJ pattern readers, you're going to feel this one in your gut. I'm Lisa, INFJ, emotional pattern translator, creator of the 2 a.m. code. And the older I get, the more I realize the most dangerous people in my life didn't lie to me. They just curated the truth. They gave me truth with conditions, withholdings, carefully timed confessions, half stories that sounded whole until the consequences hit. I once dated someone who never lied to me. He told me about his ex, told me he wasn't ready for anything serious, told me he had commitment fears, and I appreciated the honesty. But what he didn't tell me was that his ex was still texting him daily, that he'd had 2 other not serious situations happening at the same time, that his honesty was just enough to say, I told you, if I ever confronted him. That's not integrity. That's information management. And INFJs pick up on that. We feel when someone is telling us the truth just enough to protect themselves, not to protect us. Core truth, INFJs don't read lies the way others do. We read emotional integrity. We ask, are you telling me this for my benefit or yours? Why now? What are you not saying? What are you hoping I'll infer without you saying it out loud? Because half-truths aren't about facts. They're about control. And INFJs hate being manipulated under the guise of transparency. And that's the part people miss. We're not upset that you didn't say everything. We're upset that you said just enough to look honest while keeping us in the dark. That's not honesty. That's narrative management. Psychology breakdown. This type of behavior is called selective disclosure. It's when someone controls the perception of reality by choosing what truth to share, how to frame it, and when. It's not technically lying, but it's often more damaging because it creates the illusion of trust while keeping emotional power in their hands. INFJs, because of our introverted intuition, notice inconsistencies over time. We may not call it out at first, but the moment it becomes a pattern, we emotionally disconnect fast. Personal revelation. I used to give people credit for being honest eventually, but eventually doesn't feel honest anymore. When it's always late, when it only comes out under pressure, when it's preceded by body language shifts, tone changes, or the classic, I was going to tell you. And what INFJs start to feel deep down is that we weren't trusted with the full picture. We weren't given the truth. We were given the version that still protected their image. That leaves us questioning our reality and, worse, our intuition. INFJ struggle because here's the real pain for INFJs. When someone tells a half-truth, we start doubting our whole pattern recognition system. We wonder, am I being too sensitive? Maybe they did tell me enough. Maybe I'm the problem. But deep down, we know the truth was manipulated by omission, and that breaks our internal compass, at least temporarily. A friend who tells you they're struggling, but not that they've been venting about you. A partner who says they're just busy, but never mentions they went to dinner with someone you've asked about before. A boss who tells you your work is great, but never tells you about the meeting where your name came up. These aren't lies, they're strategic omissions. And INFJs feel every pixel of what wasn't said. The INFJ response. When we catch these half-truths, we don't always react. We don't yell, we don't accuse. We just start pulling back, not because we want revenge, but because we don't feel safe in the dynamic anymore. And once an INFJ doesn't feel safe, we stop asking questions, we stop clarifying, we stop giving energy to uncertainty. INFJs aren't obsessed with knowing everything. We're not emotionally invasive, but we crave emotional alignment. We want to trust that your words, your timing, your transparency are whole, because when we sense you're shaping truth like a brand, we start treating the relationship like marketing. Filtered, guarded, skeptical. Half-truths cost you access, not because we're dramatic, but because we protect our clarity like a crown. If you've ever walked away from a conversation and thought, they said the right thing, but something still feels off, that's your pattern recognition. That's your intuition. That's your wisdom trying to speak. Comment below. What's the most subtle half-truth you've ever caught, and what gave it away? Let's normalize trusting the tension, because sometimes the most honest thing you can say is, I don't trust this version of the truth. In the next video, I'm breaking down something even deeper, how INFJs use storytelling as a survival strategy, how we narrate around pain, often to protect other people, and how we're learning to tell the truth without editing ourselves out of it. That one's called The INFJ Rewrite, How We Tell Stories That Protect Everyone But Us. Subscribe now. You don't want to miss that one.